Hello, I'm Alan, welcome to the Guitar Shack. So I'm in a slightly different location for the next few videos. This is the Guitar Shack on tour. My day job has me relocated to working away during the week. And so I've got this additional accommodation and I'm spending my evenings getting on with my guitar business and continuing to do my restorations and tech work. So in that vein, today's video is about a Telecaster. It's always about Telecasters with me, as you know. And in this case, this is a Nashville Deluxe Mexican from 2008. So this was honey blonde, which is slightly lighter than standard butterscotch blonde. It's got the 5-way switching 3 pickups. In this case it's got aftermarket pickups fitted. It also comes with the original, which I think were Tex-Mex. So I'll be putting it back to standard as part of the rebuild. It's in decent overall condition. It's quite a nice looking guitar. It's completely standard at the moment apart from the pickups, which I will put back. I'm not wild about the tortoise shell guard and the white. So I may change it to a black guard with a black pickup cover, which will give it a very much a traditional Telecaster black guard look. And I'm toying with the idea that I might also put in a push-pull to allow neck and bridge together to give a traditional Telecaster sound. At the moment it's got a 5-way switch, which has got the in-between phase, or in-between pickup, out of phase positions of a Stratocaster sound, but it does mean that the middle pickup is, or the middle position is that pickup on its own. So I may do that as a little mod. It'll make it a really versatile Telecaster, and I think with the black it'll be a really attractive one too. So in terms of the current condition, you might not be able to see brilliantly, but it's got a reasonable amount of fret wear on it. It's been well looked after, it's been around the block, so it'll be getting the full level crown and polish, as most of my guitars do, as you'll be aware. From the front, it's pretty much pristine actually. On the back, we've got some paint chips on the edges and the upper bout here, and then also on the lower bout. Now this is a slightly odd colour in that you can't get touch-up paint, so I am mixing as I go, but I am drop filling those paint chips, and what I'll aim to do as usual is to raise it up and then wet sand it back and then polish it so that get rid of those. It's because I'm mixing the paint, it might be interesting to see how effectively I'm able to do that, but either way I can definitely improve it, and it's on the back anyway. Other than that, it's in really good condition, and of course, being a Telecaster that I thoroughly approve of, it's got the split post tuners, and it's got an ashtray bridge, in this case a 6 saddle one. So these are interesting little bridges. It's a combination of the intonatability of a 6 saddle, but it's got a kind of traditional feel and I guess twanginess of the traditional style bridge. So that's it for introduction. Let's get into it. As I said, from the front, the body is very clean. Be interested in comments on the colour scheme, but I'll try it with, I think I've got a black pick guard in my spares box, so I'll try it with that. I'm sure I must have a black Strat pickup cover, so I'll see what it looks like. Whatever I do when I sell it on, if I do put it black, then I'll sell the originals with it so that it's the owner's got the opportunity to put it back completely to standard. Vintage style tuners, skunk stripe, and then the heel is in good shape. I think it's probably not been on and off much, there's no stripping and it's all correctly marked. All very neat inside, standard Mexican full-size CTS pots and a decent 5-way switch, that's all good. The pickups have been wired in neatly. I'll make sure that I do as good a job when I put the originals back. And as always with the Fender, there's no messing about with fancy capacitors. It's a capacitor and it does its job perfectly well. So here's the body, stripped and fully polished. So I've used polishing compound on it to get all the scratches out and give it a good rub down. So that's us at the fully stripped down stage. So I have removed the pickups, removed the pickguard, removed the bridge and split the body and neck. So the body, as you can see on Nashville's, has got a swimming pool route, which is actually really handy because you can use it as a standard Telecaster if you want to use a couple of single coils. Obviously it'll accommodate a humbucker or a P90 in there in the neck if you want to go that route. So they're really good bodies to work with. And as you can see, it's a little bit dusty, but it's all in pretty good shape. You can see in the light, you can see the wood figuring shining through the grain, so it's a really nice colour. So as I say, I've got a few paint repairs to do to this before I put it back together, but that's pleased with that. So I've taken out the upgraded Seymour Duncans that were in it, and these are the original Fender, I believe they're Tex-Mex on this model. They're definitely upgrades from the standard Telecasters because it's the Deluxe series, but I will confirm that. So the obvious question is, why do I take out a set of Seymour Duncans and put back in standard Fender ones? Well, the answer is because not everybody's upgrade is actually an upgrade. And what I mean by that is that the second-hand market doesn't care what upgrades it's got. It doesn't pay more for a guitar with upgraded pickups. So there's no real benefit in leaving them in there. And actually, I didn't think they sounded that great in this guitar. Now, I did wonder whether it was because they were just a standard Telecaster set with a random Strat pickup added, but I don't think they are. It is the Duncan that was in there was reverse polarity, reverse wound, so it was the correct type of Strat pickup to put in there, but I just thought they sounded a bit meh. As I often do actually with Duncans, I'm not generally a fan of them. So anyway, I have them, I keep them and might do something different with them, or I might sell them, but that's where we are. So I'm going to order some parts. I am going to go for a black guard and a black pickup cover for the middle pickup, and that will give me a really nice kind of blonde with black guard Telecaster look, which I think will be nicer. And I'm going to continue the painstaking build up of layers of paint to touch up the chips on the back, and then at some point I'll be back with an update where I'm putting it all back together and doing the sort of standard setup. Obviously I'm going to do the fret job in the meantime as well. So part 2 coming when I get around to it. So this is the paint repair process in progress. This honey blonde is not available as a touch-up paint anywhere that I can find, so I'm having to mix. It's not matching brilliantly. It never really does, even with the standard touch-up paints. I've never found one which is an exact match. But what I try and do is, as you can see, I'm midway through building up lots and lots of thin layers, which will then raise the new paint above the level of the body, and then I'll wet sand that level and polish it. And then what that'll do is there will still be a slight colour difference in any of these repairs, so it's never going to be invisible, but it will make it much less prominent, and it will look okay. And my view on doing paint repairs is, there is a difference between nicely attractive wear and tear over many years on an instrument which has been well used and looks good, and that's where relicking comes from, versus just a big ugly lump missing out of an otherwise pristine modern guitar, and it's those ones that I will do what I can to improve. So work in progress. Just thought you might be interested in what I'm doing with this. You'll probably, next time you see it, will be the finished article, and you can judge for yourself whether it was worth it. This is the strip down of the bridge. So deep clean that, every component cleaned up and reassembled. Same on the back. The paint repairs didn't come out brilliantly. They are level, but what I found was that by having to mix up the paint, I just couldn't get a colour match, and where it did match, it was only for one layer at a time. So when it's built up over lots of layers, you end up with, you know, this kind of kaleidoscopic effect of lots of different colours in there. So it is levelled, it is polished, but it's still pretty obvious. So not the best repair ever, but on the other hand, and because of that, I didn't even finish this one up, I just sort of smoothed it off. But overall, I think it still looks better than the really ugly chunks that were in there in the first place. It's, you know, it's a war wound, isn't it? So, note to self, don't try and paint repair this particular colour in the future. If you can't get an exact match, it's just not worth it. But overall, I still think it was an improvement. So now I'll go ahead and build it back up. So the next thing I'm going to do is the fret job. So as you can see, there is a good amount of wear on these frets. I have measured them. I think there is plenty of meat to get them down to a level and then crown and polish them. So I'll go ahead and do that. Worst case scenario, if I'm not happy with how it's going, I'll pull them and refret it. But I think these ones are good enough to get a decent result and still have a reasonable amount of meat left. And here is the finished fret job, levelled, crowned and polished. So that's us on the home straight now. I've got the bridge back on, I've got the pickups fitted, and I've got the electronics have all been cleaned out and then rewired. So that's all in. I've got to fix the pickguard, but I'll put the neck on first and then I'll secure the pickguard in place. And then just got the saddles to do to set the bridge up again, and then set her up and off we go. And here's the end result, all fully prepared and set up. I've played it in and it sounds great, so it's now going to be going live on my Reverb Shop for sale in the next day or two. My shop is Alan's Guitar Shack on Reverb, and it will be supplied in a tweed case, and that will then be packed in a proper cardboard guitar box, and it can be supplied by courier in the UK for £35. So if you're interested in that, have a look at it on Reverb or drop me a message in the chat and I'll get back to you. Thanks very much for looking. Hope you found that interesting and hope to see you back in the Guitar Shack soon.